Recorded.
Okay, let me just poll first to make sure, for the record, that we've got a quorum here. Larry?
Present.
Brendan?
Present.
Judith? She was right. We still have a quorum, however, because there's me.
Well, we know she was here.
And baby makes 3. Yep.
Well, she had a real urgent problem that she's dealing with, so she said she might drop on.
Oh, no, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Do you want me to read the statement, Don?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, this is the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust meeting, Monday, June 29, 2020, 2 p.m. Call to order pursuant to the Governor Baker's March 12, 2020, order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Harwich Affordable Housing Trust is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in this order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may do so by logging in or calling, well, there is no calling in, by logging in as posted on the agenda.
Thank you. All right, well, there's only a couple of items that we need to discuss that are time sensitive. And the first one had to do with rental assistance. Now, before we start the discussion, I wanted to clarify something. Larry, I didn't have this in mind as a loan. If we kept it at a small amount, I had it in mind as something that they could use to get them past the finish line. If that, just to be clear, because I've been seeing different missives going back and forth. Is it a loan? Is it a contribution? I never tell Dave that I was going to ask for the money back, Dave Nixon.
Okay, it's relative in the grander scheme of things. I think it's a relatively modest amount, so that's fine with me.
Well, that gets me to what modest is. As Charlene saw, and then you saw in your packet, there were a bunch of emails back and forth, and here's what they do with the money. They get this every 3 years, and as such, their rules in the Housing Authority are that it takes X amount of money, and in this case, it's $12,600 to do a rental buy down for one person, but they won't let them in the queue unless they're funded for 3 years. So whatever we do would have to be multiples of $12,600. It could be $12,600, it could be $25,200. I leave that up to you, because what they plan on doing is securing each person. And by the time, as I understood it, by the time they get to September, they could start with number 2 or number 3 in line. So anybody have any feelings about that?
Are we looking for an offset limit, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, that would be entirely up to you folks. I wanted to break this down as to how their rules worked and what it cost per person to do it. So the package deal is for a 3-year arc for one person to buy down a rental, they need $12,600. So whatever we feel comfortable with, it has to be in those increments.
So if we were comfortable with that amount of money, could we do it for 3 people at $36,000 and change?
Yeah, I think you're talking 37, but
all right.
Yeah, for 3 people at 12,600 each.
That 37.2, 37.8, whatever. Okay, 3 people at 12.7 each. I would suggest that.
But is it stronger than a suggestion so that we can discuss it?
Oh, okay. Mr. Chairman, I would move.
Wait, it's 37,800.
Mr. Chairman, I would move we advance $37,800 to subsidize the cost of affordable housing.
For a rental buy down.
Buy downs, yeah.
Of the housing.
Can I ask a point of clarification?
Sure, Judith, it's discussion time. Then if we get a second,
You need a second first before discussion.
I just said that.
Second,
Okay, now, Judith,
I'd
discussion.
like, so these are for the rental vouchers. And if we give that amount of money, is that going to cover all of the rental vouchers that they have in place until whenever town meeting is in September? Is that the goal?
I don't want to disparage anybody, but I asked that question numerous times, and all I got back was we let them enter until they're fully funded. So whatever we do is for that one person or another person or three people, as far as I understand it. I mean, I had more than a few interchanges with these guys.
So, but there are more vouchers than 3. That's, having just come off of the housing authority, I'm confused.
But the reality is that they're going to be out of money as of July 1st for any of these things. And I thought that these people were waiting in line, and I'm not sure that everybody drops off on June 30th from the past. At least that's what I'm gleaning from all these emails. I mean, I got stuff here from Kim, from John, who the heck else? Tracy.
In other words, we cannot make an emergency gift, to call it that, from now until October 1st to cover what would have been their expenditures. We have to, they can only.
Listen, there are a lot of quirky rules because they're governed by state. The housing authority is a state entity. It's not a local entity.
I know that. I'm just, these are extraordinary times.
Oh, sure. And I think it would be appropriate if you want to commission that before you vote, to urge them to do what you're saying, is to try to do upfront funding for everybody as opposed to amortizing that over 3 people. I think I would feel better, but Charlene.
Just reading from the email chain, Tracy sent an email to Kim. And hi, Kim, per our conversation today, my current applicants for the rental assistance program is 7. The maximum is $350 per month for a maximum of 3 years. To cover those 7 applicants based on them needing the full amount, we would require a total of $88,200.
Yeah, and that was in our packet. I'm not sure we're in for that kind of money. So,
I mean, Don, if it was a loan, would we be? Would we consider that?
I didn't discuss that with them, and they didn't discuss it with me. I'm not sure how you guys want to go. It's still not going to change anything, Brendan, because if we went for a loan, they're still saying we're not going to act on everybody until we get $88,200.
Mm-hmm. And how many people are in the program? Well, I kind of lost you for about 30 seconds.
7.
If I missed that.
7.
There's 7?
That's what I said.
I made the suggestion, Mr. Chairman, at $37,800, expecting that maybe they would spread it out over 7 people for the amount of time that they can use it for, at $350 a month. I mean, I can do the math. That takes them a year or something into it, but.
That's what I originally pitched, Larry.
Yeah.
I actually said as a pro rata basis, for 3 months, you could get this much for all 7.
And just for clarity, Don, can they accept that much for all 7? Or are they restricted to only use it for 3? That's where my confusion was. Sorry to.
It wasn't based on the number of people. It was based on their criteria that we don't fund any voucher until it goes for that one person through the 3-year cycle.
You have to fund the cycle. You have to fund the 3-year cycle. So whether it's one person or the full 8, I get you.
Yeah, but they won't let them enter. They think it's a false gift. You're in, but in 3 months you might be out.
Right.
So just for clarity, if we fund one or the number that Larry came up with, they can spread that out over the 7 people?
I don't know. I would suggest that we give them that kind of language when we say that we're authorizing a disbursement of of whatever Larry's motion was. It was 37.8?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so we could say we've authorized a disbursement to you of $37,800 from the Housing Trust funding. We would suggest you spread that out over 7 people because you will be getting money at the beginning of, after town meeting, actually.
That sounds good.
And Don, how about just giving them the option? I mean, obviously, if they could spread it out, great. If they could only use it for 3 people, what about the other 4? What if we did 3 people as not a loan, fund that, and then the other 4 an option for them to borrow the additional funds as a loan? This way they'll have some options. If that's a good idea.
Go around the horn again. What do people feel about that, Larry?
I just quickly ran through the math, Mr. Chairman, at 37.8, and they wanted that does 3 people, but that's at $350 a month. That's 108 months. That's a lot of time to fund it for people at $350 a piece. So I don't know how they're going to divide it up. It seems like their rules are a little arcane, but if $37,800 gets them through till the town meeting, and the town meeting then makes up the difference, I don't have any difficulty giving that money just to subsidize the 3 people and let the town subsidize the other 4.
That's what I was suggesting, is passing the motion, but urging them to consider funding all 7 of them for the shorter period of time, as opposed to three of them for the entire arc of the 3 years.
I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Is Brendan?
I would too.
Brendan, do you agree with that?
Yep.
Okay, so the motion is to grant them $36,800 for the 3.
37,800.
Okay, it's $37,800 for the 3 rental subsidies for 3 years, but we also send a letter with them urging them to consider partial funding for all 7 so that they can pick up the funding after the CPC article is taken up.
That would be a fine explanation of a complicated motion, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion on that? Okay, so let's take a vote. Larry?
All aye.
All an aye. Brendan?
Aye.
Judith?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Okay, so I'll get back. Well, Charlene, you're not going to be around for the week, are you?
Nope.
All right, well, I'll start to draft the letter then. Okay. Now, the second item is that Charlene graciously approached Griffin Ryder, who does procurements, and
Bob, not Griff, Bob.
okay, Bob, the acting assistant town administrator, about setting up a draft for the request for proposals for the housing coordinator. Outside of I'm going to get into the timelines for this, Charlene, but outside of that, I had a little bit of a problem on page 2. I see the selectmen do this often too. Item D. This is something that you're contractually asking for that we have not actually decided we were going to do for an actual fact. I would feel much more comfortable, instead of develop a plan for future collaboration in housing production, to develop opportunities for potential collaboration in housing production.
With all due respect, do what you want. And I needed to get this moved forward because I know stuff is going to fall on me. So if you have changes, make your changes.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying. I mean,
And I'm not even sure which one you're talking about.
page 2, item D. If we see opportunities that come up that make sense, we'll decide that we want to avail ourselves of it. But I
That
will
was in the previous contract and in the previous RFP, just so you know where it came from.
I get that. And every job I ever entered, when anybody would say, well, Ben used to do it that way, I was very suspicious. Started going back to what was originally the intent of things. So the reason I'm bringing it up.
Take it out then.
Well, we could put another sentence that's an alternative. I wouldn't mind developing opportunities. The problem is right now, unless I see what bigger than a bread box looks like, we don't get any credit if we collaborate, say, with Brewster and Chatham for something that gets built in Chatham. The state doesn't credit us towards our affordable housing goal for doing that.
Right.
So, again, that's the only thing I'm saying is we're instructing somebody to do something that we haven't decided to do. The reason I bring that up is because potentially when you get later on in the bid, you're going to give street cred points for what they can do to address the things that you have up front. Don't fall asleep on me.
Strike it then.
All right. You want to strike it or do you want me to modify it? Strike it?
I'm ambivalent one way or the other.
You're ambivalent one way or the other. All right.
Now, you can strike it or you can modify it. It's probably easier to strike it, but modify it if you'd like.
Brendan.
It seems strike it. If you're that opposed against that, I would just strike it.
Charlene.
I would just say that there have been some wonderful collaborations between other communities to develop particular housing for those with autism, housing in other communities where multiple towns have assisted because they have had residents who need those services and can't get them in their own community. So I just think this is a great opportunity that if there are services that we cannot provide people here in Harwich, but can be provided elsewhere, that we not cut our nose off to spite our face.
How would we be doing that? This has to do with how we evaluate the criteria for whoever it is that wins the contract. It isn't precluding them from being expected to do that.
These services shall include but are not limited to. This is basically the scope of work that the person is going to do. This is not an evaluation.
Say the last part of that sentence again.
What you see on page 2 is not the evaluation criteria. That is what the work.
Read the last part of the sentence you just read.
This is the scope of services that the entity would provide.
Sure. These services shall include but are not limited to the following. It's not preclusive. If we drop this, I'm just concerned that it makes it look equal to everything else and we haven't actually gotten an opportunity in the 2-year arc, nor have we taken it up that we will do that. I expect that if an opportunity comes across, and by the way, Charlene, in my parallel life outside the trust, I know everything that you're saying because I was approached by the people who wanted to do the challenged housing, for instance, to construct something as a community, approached me 2 years ago. I know that there are opportunities out there. The question is, do we want to give that the same kind of juice as something unknown? As we have a problem, we know what the problem is. We don't have enough units to reach affordability, nor do we have any mechanisms that have come to a conclusion yet.
Do what you guys want. Do what you guys want.
That's what we're trying to do.
Because changes, this isn't going to go out anytime soon. I'm on vacation right now, so hoping to get this in the newspaper next week, and that's just not going to happen.
Okay. Well, again, I haven't hit.
And Charlene, I'm sorry. And Charlene, you say it's the same language as last time, correct?
Yes, it is.
But I'm not sure why you would articulate something we haven't voted. We have in our very core, gotten to the point where we're monitoring our subsidized housing inventory, we're supporting town housing related committees. We're doing all that stuff. We're just trying to coordinate all of that. You put it in here, it becomes co-equal with everything. Plus, no offense, Andrea, we're paying for your activities in doing that without knowing what that is at the moment.
That's a little confusing because we only do activities requested by you.
Yeah, exactly. We have control over it, Don. You know, in further thinking about it, I mean, unless, I think we just probably just keep it in there.
Yeah, well, I'm the guy who used to be a contracting officer. I mean, if you're forming a scope of a contract when you're actually saying including, shall include but not be limited to, by enunciating it, you're making it more important than the things that you aren't even aware of yet. Part of the scope of the contract.
My only concern would be if there aren't opportunities to accomplish it and we were evaluated on that.
Yeah, well, like, again, how can we evaluate you on something we haven't actually asked you to do, even though it's written here? If we ask you to do it, it's not saying that you can't do it. And certainly within the context of things, we've got a whole heck of a lot of other things that we're asking you to do, and we've got a money cap. I'm just trying to identify, that's the only thing in this that bothered me, and I was fully expecting Charlene to say it was in the last one, but I will point out, I was completely I know who the chair was last time, and I was not in that process. I was completely unaware of what went into the RFP. But you guys aren't. It's right in front of you. So you can decide whatever you want. Charlene has said it's not going to be like tomorrow or next week. So, but I would like to get this ball rolling.
I was hoping it was going to be next week, but
okay.
There are changes. I don't have that opportunity to make any changes. So.
It's a matter of a sentence or two. I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, simply write that so we use it as an evaluation criteria and include it.
Okay, well, my alternative is to develop opportunities for potential collaboration, which is what you're doing, Andrea.
Develop opportunity, and there might be an opportunity on the Chatham line or Dennis or Bruce or whatever. That would be fine. Get extra points for it. Leave it at that. Somebody wants to add it in, good luck.
It's just a simple rewrite. Develop opportunities for potential collaboration in housing production and preservation.
Include that, put that in there and have them put it in so we can get it in next week's paper. Fine by me.
I think the
and
guy...
why didn't you send me that language? Because I did not write it down. And like I said, I'm on vacation. So if somebody wants to get in touch with, try and get in touch with Bob Lawton to make that change so this can get out, fine by me.
Okay. I will be seeing him.
Boy, that's quick, Mr. Chairman. You're getting extra points for this today.
Yes, my life is screen time. But Andrea beats me, and I'm pretty sure Charlene's a close second.
And Charlene, too, for doing this on vacation.
Cape Cod is in paradise. All right, so do we have a motion authorizing Charlene?
I would move, Mr. Chairman, you make the changes you suggested, forward them to Charlene, and or forward them to whoever it is that's going to make.
No, not to Charlene. She's on. Yeah.
Please copy me in, but it needs to go to Bob Lawton.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, you make the changes, copy Charlene, send it to Bob Lawton, and I wait for a second.
In order to issue it.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Judith.
Okay, as part of the discussion, Jay Coburn and I, with Andrea, had a phone call last week, and we are still going to go forward with utilizing their services on a purchase order basis because, as was brought up earlier, COVID-19 kind of put everything upside down. We don't want to not proceed forward. We're not going to take the summer off, so we're going to do it at the same rate that they were contracted for, prorated to 3 months. So everybody knows that.
That's fine, Mr. Chairman. You're allowed to do that. Are there any other items on the agenda?
Yeah, voting for this. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none. Larry?
I'm in favor. Aye.
Brendan? Brendan is frozen in time. I have a feeling where he pulled over wasn't as friendly as he thought.
He was driving too fast. Signal's gone.
Let's go to Judith because we can still get a majority here.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can.
I'm fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, so it's
Brendan, you in favor?
Brendan's back.
Yeah, I'm back.
yeah, we voted without you so far. Are you in favor?
That's why I kind of assumed you were doing that. I saw some hand motion. What do you need from me? I missed about a good minute of that.
A vote one way or the other to make the change and issue the RFP?
Yeah, as stated, yes.
Okay, so it's 4-0.
4-0. Yep.
Anybody have anything else that they want to discuss other than wishing Charlene a very pleasant week off?
Not me.
And Andrea, you talk too much.
Linda,
You're welcome.
Charlene,
Well, I
thanks
guess-
for showing up.
There is one little thing that I could say,
Yes.
which is just that it doesn't need to be in the RFP or anything, but we would really appreciate the opportunity to report more regularly on our activities to the CPC in the next year. That
CPC, we're not talking gloves and masks, right?
right, Community
Okay.
Preservation Committee.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, and David and I talked about that, but ultimately, it's better that we see moving forward on all fronts and give them a report other than we're aggregating money into our checking account. Doesn't put a roof over anybody's head just reporting that way. All right, with that, I'm going to wish everybody just a happy and safe 4th of July distancing.
I have a 5th on the 4th, and I move the meeting be adjourned.
Second.
Second? Okay, that's non-debatable, Larry.